This brings us to my main event project, something I've been working on for the most part for the last 2 weeks, and I'm so excited. I have so much to share about this project. So if you don't already have a project going or a cup of coffee or something, you might want to pause and go grab that now because we're going to chat for a minute. Hey everyone, it's Natalie, also known as Knitty Natty. Welcome to episode 234 of the Love and Stitches podcast. It is July 2nd, I believe today, so first podcast of July, and I am back in Nashville at my parents' house for just a little bit longer before we hit the road again. We have been traveling for the last 2 weeks, so there was no podcast last week, which means I have a lot of project progress to share with you today, and I am so excited. I finished a couple things. I have almost finished a whole garment. I have been working really hard on my twisted T-top, so really excited to share that with you today. Now, the Sock Week events are on sale right now. I'm going to talk about it in more detail like towards the end of the episode, but I just wanted to let you know they are on sale through July 20th because we begin Sock Week on July 21st. However, if you want to save a couple bucks, if you sign up by today, July 4th, really it'll be like the morning of July 5th. Whenever I wake up, I'm going to change the price. But you can get signed up for just $25. After that, it's going to go up to $30, so nothing crazy. But we're also starting our Sock Week training camp in the Discord on July 5th. And all of that comes through the event package. There's the $5 Discord package, the $25 events package, which includes 5 events. And I'll share all of the details about that later on in the episode, but I'll have the links down below. All right, let's get into it. I have so much to share with you today. I think we'll start with a finished object. Just didn't realize how much dog hair I just got by laying these on the ground. Oh dear. Okay, I grabbed some of my sock blockers, which I do have one pair with me in the van, but I haven't used them, so I'm thinking about leaving those behind since we're getting ready to leave for another stretch of our road trip. Everything I'm doing right now with my knitting is like, okay, am I going to bring this with me or not for this leg of the trip? Because every time we leave, I learn something new about what my needs are. So I did want to grab these just to put these socks on, but these are from Fangirl Fibers. They're glitter acrylic, and they are from Sock Week, I think 2 years ago, so 2022. You know what? This feels weird. I don't know if this is working right. I'm going to flip this back around. Okay. If it was bad before, hopefully it's better. All right, so let's get these guys on sock blockers. I have not finished weaving in the ends or blocking these yet. I just got back here last night, so hopefully that's something I can get done this week. But I have finished sock number 2 on my very first Sock Week 2024 socks. Now, Sock Week is a make-along that happens for 8 days, so it's July 21st to July 28th this year. But the fun thing about it is that there's so many like sponsor products and different things that if you want to like make one sock before Sock Week, that's cool. You can do that. If you want to make a couple of socks before and then just do one during Sock Week, it's whatever you want to do. So of course I have all of our sponsor yarns and there are 5 of them this year. So I have been just saying to myself, I'll work through them one at a time and whatever gets done, gets done. Most of our sponsors are about to like getting close to closing sales. Some of them are still doing pre-orders. So if you want to check that out, all the Sock Week stuff is down below. Okay, sorry, that took me a while to get these on here. All right, so this one is the first sock of the pair. It's a really fun gradient. I started at the toe and worked all the way up. I've got a super long leg here. Did I bring? I did. Okay, here's the card. This is from Knit Circus. They specialize in doing gradient sock sets. So it comes with 2 matching cakes and you select your size based off of, or you select your yarn size based off of like your sock size that you want to do. So I got the medium set. I wear a women's size 8 shoe. So that's what it looks like there. And I still had so much yarn to like finish out this. So I ended up with really, really tall socks, and I just did a 2x2 rib because I wanted it to fit me from, the smallest part of my ankle to the largest part of my calf. So this is sock number 2. They look identical. Came with 2 matching cakes, which is super nice. You can see my ends sticking out here. And I had worked, I guess, to where this marker is. This one is from Bah Humble. It's Big Bend, or not Big Bend, excuse me. It's, oh no, why can't I think of it? In Texas. We're going to get there. National Park. I'll think of it later. I'll think of it later. But anyway, I finished most of the foot before we went on our trip last 2 weeks ago. And I worked through the heel. I did a fish lips kiss heel. And then I just did ribbing all the way up. Now, when you do a fish lips kiss heel, the pattern recommends that you do a little bit of knitting on the back of the leg, like back of the heel, before you get into your leg pattern. So that's what I did. You can actually see it pretty clearly here, where I started the ribbing on the top of the foot as soon as I was done with my short rows. And then you can see I worked just stockinette here on the back part of the heel. So this was like, once I got back into the round on that top of the foot part, so either side here, I did rib. And then on the back of the foot part, either side here, I did stockinette for about like 10 rounds. And that just helps kind of extend the heel up a little bit. It's the part that will be in your shoe, so it won't rub if you have a pattern on it, and it just works out really great. So I'm happy with these socks. I feel like they're gonna be a great pair of socks for me to wear, of course, when it gets cold outside again. I don't think they'll be coming with me on this next leg of the trip because it's gonna be warm for a long time now that we have officially hit summer. But I think these will be great because they are so long to wear in boots. They'll stay up without falling down. So very happy with them. And first pair of Sock Week socks ticked off the list. The second I finished those socks, I was ready to go to cast on my next pair of Sock Week socks. I had everything wound up and ready with me, and I actually ended up casting them on in Antigua where we were vacationing. So cast them on by the pool, worked on them by the pool for a good part of the day. It was so much fun. So I have switched over to a new Sock Week bag. I like to use all of them as much as I can. This one is from Patil Knits out of Australia, and it's this beautiful Australian Flora fabric, and it's such a good little small size. I didn't bring it with me on my trip because I was a little worried. I'm pretty rough on my project bags, and I just like throw them on the ground, stuff them in my backpack. I didn't want it to get dirty, but now that I'm back, I feel like I can keep it nice for a little while. So for this pair of socks, I am using Wool and Works, also out of Australia. And this is a sock set called Electric Horizon and Shepherd's Delight. As far as I know, I think these are not for sale anymore, but it is our brightest colorway for Sock Week this year. And I just wound off a 50-gram like ball from the skein because I didn't want to have anything too bulky in my luggage. I really had to like keep everything. I had a backpack, my crossbody purse, and a carry-on suitcase. And for me, that's very, very hard to pack like that. And so I'm like, okay, I can't bring too much, like knitting takes up so much space. And so I just wound off a little bit of that. And then the 20-gram mini. So these are what they look like together. They're so, so pretty. And our Sock Week patterns are now available. And so I decided to cast one on so that I could be working it up alongside everybody else. So this is the Shell Yeah pattern by Leah Gibson. It's shorty socks with a really fun pattern on the front. You need 2 colors. Technically, the pattern recommends 2 50-gram minis, but if you are knitting one of the smaller sizes, I believe you can use a 20-gram, just depending on your foot size and gauge, of course. So I'll find out for you. But I think Leah said some of her testers were able to get through the smaller sizes with just a 20-gram mini, which is nice, which means you could maybe use, I guess the main color uses a bit more because you are using that for the heel, the cuff, the toe, and all of that. But I think I think I'll have enough yarn. I really hope so. So this pattern is so much fun. First of all, it's really quick because it's shorty. So you basically cast on, do the heel flap, and like get right into the fun patterning. This part is really fun to do. It's really interesting and unique. I've never done anything quite like it before. And of course, if you use more sandy, beachy like colors, it's really going to look like shells. But I thought these two worked really, really well together, and still like you can still see the seashells. They're very defined and everything. So I'm really happy with how it's working out. It took me a few repeats and a few ripping backs because I kept forgetting things to memorize the pattern, but now I've got it down. The second sock will be a breeze. It's something now I can bring along with me. Now I did do the heel flap and gusset. That is part of the pattern. And I don't think I've done a heel flap and gusset like since I learned how to do the fish lips kiss heel, which was more than 5 years ago. So it was kind of fun, actually. I can't say heel flap and gusset is my favorite thing to do, but it didn't feel as daunting as I remembered. So who knows? Maybe I will start branching out into doing heel flap and gusset again on occasion. It's not so bad, and I do think it provides a really, really great fit. So it has that nice slip stitch, heel flap on it, all in the main color. And then of course we've got stripes going down. So I'm really excited for these. These are really, really fun. They're kind of my out and about project for right now. And of course, as soon as I finish these ones, I will be casting on the next and the next all the way up until sock week. So hopefully I can work through most of our sock yarns. There is another pattern coming out for sock week from Maggie Fangman, who dyed she's Yarnaceous Fibers. She dyed the Petrified Forest sock set. So I'm thinking that will probably be my next cast on. Let's talk about this guy. It's kind of, doesn't have a lot of structure when there's nothing in it. Okay, so this is my project bag. On the last podcast, I had maybe just started working on the knitted portion of this. I can't remember if I was still in the crochet or not. So the next project I'm going to talk about, my twisted t-shirt, uses 8 mini skeins. And when I realized, you know, I was swatching and it was very tangly and very messy to work with 8 mini skeins at a time. Anytime I threw them into a project bag, they got all tangled up. I was like, you know, this is not going to be a fun project if I have to keep untangling my yarn. I really need a project bag that is functional and can hold and sort all of those mini skeins and also hold my project. And then I just got this like harebrained idea to make this project bag. And it was right up leading up until vacation. If you saw the cast on vlog that I did, it was like the vlog started out as a cast on video for my twisted t-shirt. And then like halfway through, it turned into making this. I didn't include as much of that in the video because it was about the twisted t-shirt, but I got just obsessed with this. So I ended up working on this and finishing it right before we got on the plane to go to Antigua for vacation. And so I was able to work on my twisted t-shirt out of it for my entire vacation. And I've now gotten to the point where I no longer am working with the mini skeins. So I can't actually show you that, but I do have some photos and some videos of working with it. It's very, very functional. So this is a project bag. It's my own design. I am planning to write it up into a pattern, test it, and get it out there into the world at some point. But the bottom is a granny square. And this is all fingering weight held doubled. I used a magic knot ball and just used up a bunch of scraps. So all of the bottom of this is a leftover advent, like 24 tiny 2-gram scraps all tied together, and then like a purple, I think. Yeah. So I think they were my homespun house leftovers from this last year. So granny square all the way up the side of the bag. So the bottom is square, and then I picked up stitches and I knit. It's still fingering weight held double. So half of the like wall of the bag is crochet, half of it's knit. And then this little turning point right here, this fun little turning point, makes up kind of the lining of the bag. And then it has another little turning point here that encases an I-cord drawstring. So when it was full, when my skeins were full and everything, I also had these little crochet cups in there to hold all of my mini skeins, and that worked really, really nicely. When it was full, I could take the lining and fold it down into the bag. Here, I'll show you. I need to fold it down first. Fold it down into the bag like this. And this would just sit on my lap or sit on the table, and I would have all of my mini skeins in here. So I would work through one color stripe, and then I would take this and I would rotate it, or I would rotate the project either way to like untwist the knitting that I had done. So basically you knit in a clockwise circle, and then I would turn it counterclockwise to untwist it and then go on to the next color. And that kept everything organized and everything from tangling, and it worked so, so great. I'm so pleased with it. And then when I needed to put it away, I just pulled this back out and I could cinch it closed, and it can't go closed all the way. I think there's just too much fabric there, but it just served as a really great functional project bag and really cute. It's also very squishy. So I have my float totes that are made from cotton yarn held double, and they're so great. They're so functional, they're so perfect, but they are larger and they are bulky and they're heavy. So this provided something that was lightweight, squishy. I could squish it down into my backpack, and it just worked out so, so great. I think in total, I used about 200 grams of fingering weight yarn. I need to, when I actually develop this pattern, I'm going to be making it again. I'm going to make a few adjustments to make the fit and the function a little bit better before I throw it out to testers. So that's why it's going to be a little while. And I'll, be more accurate with all of my measurements and everything. But I think in total, including the little cups, about 200 grams of yarn. So it really used up a lot of yarn, which is wonderful, and a lot of leftovers. And I just think it made something so fun and so useful. And of course now, it doesn't have to be used for mini skeins or color work or anything. It could just be a nice little flexible drawstring project bag. So very pleased with it, very happy with it. And as soon as I have the pattern ready and I'm looking for testers, I will let everyone know. This brings us to my main event project, something I've been working on for the most part for the last 2 weeks, and I'm so excited. I have so much to share about this project. So if you don't already have a project going or a cup of coffee or something, you might want to pause and go grab that now, because we're going to chat for a minute. Okay, this morning as I was getting organized to record the podcast, I pulled everything out of the project bag that I knitted and crocheted, and I threw it back into this project bag, which is from Hohi & Co. And I got it at Vogue Knitting Live in 2020. Was it 2023? I think it must have been 2023. Oh wait, I think it says on here. Yes, 2023. So these were like the special bags we got for one of the packages, whatever package that I bought with the events and everything. And I love it. I love it so, so much. And it's not really a practical one to bring in the van because this takes up so much space in the overhead compartment. I need things that are squishy and functional, but I think I can finish this project before we leave. I don't know exactly when we're leaving, but I think I have at least 4 to 5 days. So I'm really hoping I can finish this project before then. Anyway, so this is the Twisted T-shirt by Brianna Lapino. And the major modification that I made is I used a mini skein set for the body. So the original version is 2 colors, where the rib on the neck, the sleeves, and the bottom is all one color, and then the main body is another color. I think hers is a solid and a speckled yarn. It's really cute. It's really pretty. It's a crop shirt. I'm making mine longer, so that's my other modification. But really, it's the stripes that inspired me to make this. I've always kind of had this pattern on my list because it's just a good basic t-shirt, and I was looking for a t-shirt to make for the summer, fall, spring. It'll be good to wear for a good part of the year. And then I got this yarn and I was like, this is what I want to do. So this yarn, I've got 2 colors actually. Well, I've got 9 colors, but one is a mini skein set. Where did the other thing go? I think I must have pulled it out of my bag and put it in the other room, but both yarns are from Ruby and Roses. The mini skeins are a sock or a just like a mini skein set. I think she calls them rosebuds, and it's called Happy Place. And then the top part, it's looking very pink in the camera, but in person, I feel like it reads more purple, like a lilac. It is called Wisteria, and I've got 100 gram skein of that, and it goes together so well. And these two colors, or these two sets of colors, are from Addie's Flowers Gone Wild collection, and this collection is about to close. It's a pre-order collection, so when you order your yarn, it's not going to come for a while because they take all the orders and then they get it all dyed up as fast as they can and send it out, but it does take several weeks, sometimes a couple months, so read all the details before you order just to make sure. But if you want to get this mini skein set, this is the only opportunity to do so. So go shop that. I've got an affiliate link down below. So if it's your first order, you can save $5. Or if it's not your first order, you can always use an affiliate link to, support content creators like me, but also to support Addie of Ruby and Roses. So, switch around if you know a few people that have an affiliate link. I always think that's a good idea, but I do have one. Okay, so let's talk more details about this project. So I want to start with the size because I don't think I've shared anything about casting this on. I think I cast it on the day I recorded the last podcast, but after, I believe, because I think I was just showing the swatch before. So I am making I believe it's a third size. It is a 40-inch finished bust. So my bust measurement, the last time I measured it, which was just before casting this on, is 35.5 inches. And the recommended ease for this pattern is 2 to 4 inches of positive ease, which means take your measurements, add 2 to 4 inches, and find the closest size from there. So I ended up with a little bit more than 4 inches of ease. I think I've got 4.5 inches of positive ease because I'm making the 40 and my bust is 35.5. But my other option was to have like a 1/2 inch of positive ease, and I didn't really want that. I wanted this to have a pretty relaxed fit. So between my fit and the model, the designer, Brianna, my fit is definitely looser, and my neckline falls a little lower because of that. So I've been trying this on a lot just to make sure I like the fit, I like the length, and I'm really liking it. I tried it on several different times. I got a few photos here of me trying it on in different stages. I always try it on after joining the underarms, or I think in this case I tried it on just before joining the underarms, and then I've been trying it on for length since then. Now with the stripes, I tried something the first and then ripped it out because I didn't like it. So there are short rows to begin. So this bit right here, which just makes the neckline fall a lot better. And at first I tried using my hot pink, my very first stripe color, for the short rows, and I didn't like how that looked. It looked very out of place because all the other stripes are 2 rows. It just looked out of place. So I ended up ripping that back, redoing my short rows with this contrast color. And then that way, as soon as I started in the round again, I started my 2 row stripes. And I think this is much more subtle and much less noticeable. It just gave me 2 rows of my lilac, my wisteria color right there, just a little bit shown on the front in the sleeves, but I think it looks so much better. And it also means that I used all of my mini skeins evenly. So that was really good. So that was a thing that I had to kind of figure out by trial and error. So all of my stripes are 2 rows, and I carried my yarns the entire time. So 8 mini skeins were attached at all times, which is why I felt like I needed that project bag. So here's what it looks like I am detached now because I have finished, I think, with the body and I'm ready to do the ribbing. Here's what it looks like on the inside. Actually, let me just turn it completely inside out. It's pretty cool how it looks. It also took me a little while to figure out how to manage the mini skeins, how to give enough slack for the ends on the inside. So this is what it looks like. Kind of just like a giant spiral. This is the center back all the way down. So at first I was pulling a little snugger. I think I pulled a little too snug and I didn't have enough like give here. You can see that's pretty good give. Like I'm not going to have an issue with this all shrinking up, which is what can happen sometimes when you change yarns. So I shouldn't have an issue with that. So then I started going looser And I think I went a little too loose in some places. I'm definitely going to go back in with a tapestry needle and just, tug on a few of the stitches, kind of even out the extra fabric. So here's what it's looking like on the outside. It's noticeable, but not terrible. Like you can see here, this is unblocked too. Here, there's a little bit of gathering and uneven stitches, but I think all in all, it's not bad. And when you think about it, like doesn't need to be perfect. When you buy like a store-bought sweater, for example, with stripes, there's a jog, there's a seam where things are not lined up. So all in all, I'm actually really pleased with how this came out. I think it looks good, and I'm just gonna have to do a little bit of tweaking and a little bit of, and obviously block it and everything, and it's gonna look better. So the way that I managed all of these yarns is, of course, I had my bag here. So I would knit my 2 rows with the current color that I had. And then I would take this, this is so hard to show without having it here, but I would hold the color I just used right up close to the needles because it wasn't tangled yet. Everything else had just slowly twisted around while I knit. So I would either take the bag and I would rotate that 2 times because I knitted around 2 times for 2 rows. I'd rotate it 2 times to untwist, or I would just take my project. So again, I'm holding the current yarn up here and I would rotate it around 2 times. This took me a couple of repeats to figure out because at first I thought I could just knit everything and then at the very end I could untwist it, but that didn't work because basically as I picked up each one, like different ones got twisted over each other and that was a nightmare. So it was still easier to sort out because I had the little bags, but still kind of a mess. So that worked really, really great. And then as far as carrying the yarns, carrying 8 yarns is exactly the same as carrying 2 yarns. Basically, I just would move over, sorry, it keeps unfocusing. I would move over all 7 of the ones that I wasn't working with, and then I would bring my new color under and around. So that's it, just exactly like you would do it for 2 yarns where you just cross them over. 7 would go over here, and then the new one would come up and around. I would tug on it a little bit to even up, where it had come from previously, and then I would stretch it up, and then I would like stretch out my fabric so that I had a really long strand, really nice and loose. One more tip for you. I love doing this when changing colors, especially on shawls, because I feel like on shawls, there's always like one side that's always tighter. So here's a little hack for you. Let's see if I can recreate this. So when you're going, just knit this. Okay. So I am going to start my next round. Let's say I've just joined in a new color. I'm going to knit 1, yarn over, and knit the next stitch and just carry on. So I've just added a yarn over, whatever, you know what a yarn over looks like. I've just added a yarn over, an extra stitch essentially. When I come back, here we go, can I do this? When I come back around, this is now round 2, I will knit this stitch, pretend I knitted it, and drop the yarn over. And then just carry on. And what having the yarn over and dropping it does is it allows this stitch to stretch out just a little more, which then gives a little more ease to the yarn that you're carrying in the back. So that's all it is. It's just when you start a new color, knit 1, yarn over, carry on, and then make sure to drop that yarn over on your second round, and you get a little more ease. So I did that the whole time too. So that is how I carry the yarns. I hope that was helpful. I hope that made sense. Okay, what else did I want to share? Hold on, I had so many notes on this. I really hope that this project is done next week. I'm so excited. Okay, can't remember if I said this, but I have about 2.5 grams of each color left. So I knit the 40-inch size. Oh, and I have added 4.5 inches of length. I don't know if that will be my final number. I might actually take some of it back. It might be a little too long, but the original is super, super cropped, and I did not want that. I wanted it to be like not super long, but just kind of like my comfy t-shirt. So I measured a comfy t-shirt that I wear. Basically, it's like this length where it's like you know, just to the hip crease. So not super long, but not super cropped, and added that length. So I think my size said 5.5 inches past the armhole, and I have done 9, I believe. And then I'll have 2 inches of ribbing. So 11 inches in total underneath the armhole, which should be good. 10, 11 inches is something I'm usually pretty happy with. So where I'm at right now, I am ready to do the ribbing. I think I'm going to do the sleeves first. So just pick up and add the twisted rib on both sleeves. I'll try it on again with everything done up top. I don't know if I'm going to block it before that. Like if I had a little more time, I would usually finish the sleeves, put all these stitches on a cord, block it, try it on, make sure I liked it, and then do the rib. And of course, now that I'm saying this, I'm like, that's what I should do. But I really want to finish this before I leave. And I don't know, like I'm going to get a little length out of it. So I might do more of an educated guess than actually blocking it this time, just because I want to finish it. I want to finish it before we go. I'm just so excited about it. I can't believe I've worked so much of it in just about 2.5 weeks. I'm really excited. Now this contrast color, I've got plenty of this left because I have a full 100-gram skein. So I'll update my project page when I'm done to see how much that I've used in total. Oh, I can't wait. This is what I'm going to do. Like as soon as I'm done with this, well, maybe not as soon. I think I have a little more work I need to do before lunch, but as soon as I have my lunch break, I'm going to be picking up one of the sleeves and getting it started. Okay, I think that's everything that I wanted to share. Check out my project page. Let me know if you have any questions. I am happy to answer them. One last project to share with you today is my blanket of knowledge. Now, I haven't actually worked on it any because last podcast I had made sort of a revelation that instead of working this blanket in strips, I'm going to start working it in squares because it's going to be more doable for me. It's going to help me achieve my goal of adding crochet skills to my reservoir. So that's not the word I wanted to use. Repertoire, maybe? I don't know what word I meant to use. And then somebody, and I wish I had written down your name before I clicked away from your comment, but somebody suggested that I start working with the current month square and yarn so that I can kind of refresh the project, feel like a part of the community aspect of it, and then I can go back and, you know, work on the yarns and squares that I've been receiving since February instead of kind of punishing myself. They didn't say all of these words, but that's what I started to think when I read your comment. Like, instead of punishing myself by working, you know, making myself catch up before I get to join in for the fun, you're like, just join in for the fun right now and then catch up. And I'm like, oh, why did I not think of that? I love that idea. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. So I have my June. Is this June or July, actually? I don't know if this is June or July. I just got this boxed when I just got home yesterday. So if you haven't seen this before, this is the Blanket of Knowledge subscription. It is from Hot Springs Fiber Company out of Arkansas, and there are 8 different colors that you can choose from, and also a knit or crochet version, and I'm doing the crochet version. So every single month you get a skein of yarn with a mini skein as well, and then the pattern and some extra goodies. And in your first month, you either get knitting needles or crochet hooks, depending on what you are doing. Okay, this is June. So I am doing the Serenity colorway, which is all like kind of moody pinks. So here is June's color. Definitely one of the deeper ones, kind of like that rosy color, and then deeper maroon, kind of a brown. It has a little, that's cool. It's like a clear rose, but it's like reflecting purple, which is interesting. Little stitch marker there. And it says Reflections of Yesterday. And oh, you also get to choose between DK and Sport Weight. And I'm doing the Sport Weight. Let's see what else is in here for this month. So you get a mini skein. All of mine are white. I'll be using these to join my squares later on. Got some, oh my gosh, they went up to the top. I don't know if I can get them back down. There's gummies in here, I promise. They're just all on the top. And then a pin. Always different. The goodies are always different every single month. And then of course, the pattern. So let's see, what are we going to be doing for this month? I'm so enthusiastic to join back in now that The person who made that comment, you've changed my life as far as crochet goes. You have no idea. So I'm going to be doing the block construction. It looks like, where is the pattern? What are we going to be doing here? I don't know if I see. Am I crazy? Page 1, page 2. Oh, okay. The instructions are just short. Okay, great. Perfect. And then there's a bonus stitch. Okay, fun. So I think this looks a little easier for this month. I don't know if you can really see it, but it looks like kind of a texture crossover stitch. So I will be joining back in, getting June done. Again, thinking about what I want to bring on this trip. I am just going to bring the one skein, and then I am going to be making little Ziploc baggy packets of things, of yarns that I could possibly need in the coming months, and putting them in a place where it's easy for my mom to get to because she's so great about shipping us stuff when we need it. So I'm going to be putting the other yarns away, and I will either have her ship them out to me, or I will just worry about them when I get back. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have to worry about them right now. I think I am going to feel even more excited about this project. Like, the relief I got going from the strip construction to the block construction was huge. And now being able to just go one at a time and start with the current month, or I guess 1 month behind, is making me so excited. So I need to get into the Facebook group for the blanket and join in and work with them on everything and just work along with their group. I'm super excited for it. We have had the most wonderful last couple of weeks getting to travel to both New York, Antigua, and I traveled to New Jersey for one day. So let me walk you through a little bit of what has happened. So last Wednesday, Kent and I flew really early in the morning to New York City. If you are newer here, we used to live in New York City. It's actually been almost a year since we left. We moved away like June 30th of last year. So almost exactly a year. So back to New York City, mostly because we were going to catch a flight with our friends to Antigua from New York City, but also because we wanted to spend a little time after our trip to, our tropical vacation, spend a little time in New York, see some friends, go to some places that we remember, all of that. So the first leg of the trip was getting to New York. It was a really quick one. We just stayed one day, one night with a friend that actually lives across the street from where we used to live in our old apartment building. So we really spent that day just actually working and getting some food and just hanging out and going to bed early. So nothing too exciting. But the very next day, on Thursday, we met up with our friends Brianna, who's the Little Wolf Knits, and Michael at the JFK airport. And we flew to Antigua, which I was saying Antigua, but we actually learned basically when we were in the airport and they called our flight to Antigua that we were saying it wrong. So it's Antigua. So Antigua is an island in the Caribbean. We went to Sandals, which is an all-inclusive resort. We were celebrating both of our wedding anniversaries. So their wedding anniversary is in May. I believe it's May. Now I'm second guessing that, but earlier in the summer or late spring, and our anniversary is in July. So we kind of found a time in the middle where we could all go together. We had 7 nights, I think, there. A really long vacation. Like every day I kept waking up going, wow, we still have like more days of this. It was truly a relaxing vacation. So we kind of developed a routine that was so great, so nice. I love going to Sandals. It's the only place we've really traveled in the Caribbean. So it's really very nice. So we would meet for breakfast about 8:30, have a great breakfast, chit chat, knit. It was so fun going on a vacation with a knitting friend. Brianna had packed summer knitting outfits. She had 14 summer knitting outfits. She's a designer, so she's got a ton of them, but I only had the one, my seaside dress that I made of hers. So we wore that together one night, but it was hot. It was hot there. But anyway, so we would meet for breakfast at like 8:30, knit, chat, drink coffee, and then we would go back to our rooms, get ready to go to the pool from like 10 o'clock to 5 o'clock, basically, then go back to our rooms, take a shower, get dressed for the evening, and we would meet. They had a coffee shop. I'd get a cappuccino, sometimes get a crepe, and we would play games, which was so fun. Kent and I have gone to Jamaica to Sandals several times, but always on our own. And it was so much fun to go with friends. We played, what is it called? Something unicorns, unstable unicorns, Taco Cat, some kind of Monopoly game. I don't know. We just had a great time playing games. And then we would go to dinner. And then after dinner, we would maybe get a drink, play a few more games, get some dessert, and then go to bed. And that was our schedule every day for like 6 or 7 days. And it was awesome. I did a ton of pool time. I did a ton of knitting by the pool, in the pool. One of the pools that we really liked had a swim up bar that was completely shaded and stools that you can sit on where your legs were in the water, but you were mostly out of the water. And so I would put my Kindle and my project bag on the bar, and then I was able to knit. And it was so great and stay cool because it was extremely hot. Now, we flew back to New York City a week later, and I had one full day in New York City. So I tried to get as many things done around also doing work, because after that week in Antigua, we had like no internet. I needed to do some things. I got a haircut at my old hair salon. I ate several of my favorite foods, Thai place, all kinds of different places. I got Levain cookies. I walked to Central Park. On my walk from my haircut to Central Park, I ran into my friend Charles, who's also a knitter, and we walked together through Central Park, got cookies, went to Knitty City, the yarn store in Manhattan, one of the yarn stores in Manhattan, and it was just such a great day. It makes me really miss New York, just having days like that. Also, the weather was really nice while we were there. It wasn't as hot as it has been, so that was great too. And then that night we went to our favorite omakase place, sushi place, and it was delicious. The next morning on Saturday, I took an early train out to New Jersey to see my friends Amy and Ian and stayed the night for one night at their house. And also Amy is a knitting friend, so we basically spent the day eating and knitting. I got so much done on my twisted t-shirt on the train out there, hanging out there. I probably did too much knitting. I think my arms need a break today and everything, but got a ton done. And then the next evening, Sunday evening, took the train back into New York City, and then we left to come back to Nashville on Monday evening, which was last night. So we just got back into Nashville. We'll be here for a few days tops, maybe a week, and then we are hitting the road again. So we have been out of the van, out of Lydia for a month, almost a month, which is wild. This is our longest break that we've had, not like doing little nights staying and sleeping in the van, because even last December, we did take kind of a big break from traveling to different states, but we were still traveling and getting in the van and doing different things. So this is our longest break yet, and it's been much needed, but I am ready to get back on the road. We still have 24 more states to go to. We have the part of the Midwest, North and South Dakota, and then all of the Northeast to do, as well as Virginia and West Virginia. I don't know what to call you. You're not the Northeast, but you're not the South. So I don't know. We have all of that to do. And I'm really excited for it. We'll be traveling like the wind all the way up until Rhinebeck this year. We'll be at Rhinebeck in October. We'll definitely still have a few more states to go to, but that's the plan for right now. So last week, in lieu of a podcast, Kent and I did a Q&A. We talked a little bit about, what we're thinking through for our plans for after van life. So if you have any questions about like travel and stuff like that, you might find them answered in that video. Okay, I think that's everything in our travels. Let's go on to our last segment. Several videos have come out since the last podcast. So we have had the new Q&A that I just mentioned. We also did our Saturday yarn store tour at Three Loves Yarn in Nampa, Idaho. It's outside of Boise. Such a great yarn store. I am doing the yarn store tours as premieres on Saturdays now. So please come join us on Saturday. It's 12 p.m. Eastern time, 9 a.m. Pacific time. join us with your coffee or your lunch or whatever, and we'll watch the store tours together. And I'm there in the chat. So if you have questions, I'm happy to answer questions about the store. Also, we just kind of, check in with each other, see what everyone's making. It's just a fun and casual way to kind of start your weekend. So please come and join us for those. They're so much fun. I wanted to start those to hopefully encourage people to come and watch these store tours and support the stores that we're filming. So we've got so many coming up. We have Jimmy Bean's wool coming up next week. We have Farmer's Daughter fibers after that. We have a fiber mill that you're going to think is so cool coming up after that. And then that's all that we've filmed so far, but we will be traveling again. So we're going to Michigan, we're going to Wisconsin, we're going to Minnesota. Like all of these are going to be coming up very, very soon. Today, the Cowboy Yarn Crawl video came out. So we went to all 7 yarn stores on the yarn crawl. It's also all the stores that are in Wyoming. So 7 yarn stores. We went to all of them and we put together like kind of a shorter, quicker pace video. It's not a full store tour in all of them, but just kind of showing the highlights. So if you're in Wyoming or if you're traveling through Wyoming, like if you're going to Yellowstone, if you're going to Grand Teton, if you're just driving through on 80 and you're going to, somewhere out west, you're going to pass one of these stores. So definitely check those out. There's so many great shops in Wyoming. I'm super jealous. Okay. Coming up, let's talk Make Along because Sock Week is approaching really, really fast. The big news this week is that the events are now open. The event package includes 5 events. So the first event is the cast on party. We're actually going to do this early this year. Usually we have a midnight cast on party, but I was like, 1, I want to bring a guest in and that's not really fair to them. And 2, I am not an evening person. It would be so much better for me to start early. So we're having an early bird cast on party on Saturday, July 20th. So if you're part of our events package, you can cast on early with us. Honestly, if you're not part of the events package, don't worry. You can cast on at 9 p.m. Eastern if you want to as well. But we're going to do an early bird cast on party. The first half hour we're going to spend with Andrea Louie, who's the knitting PT, and she's going to walk us through some warm-ups so we can actually prepare our body to knit and crochet safely during Sock Week. And then for the last 30 minutes, you're going to be able to cast on your socks, and I am going to have Kent do a Junior Ranger talk because the theme this year for Sock Week is the Great Outdoors. I have a lot of outdoors and national parks themed events for us. So even if you're not a sock maker, I think you will enjoy the events this year because they're not just about socks. Actually, there's only one event that is specifically about socks. Everything else is about knitting and crochet in general or national parks. So that's the first event. The second event is on Sunday, July 21st in the afternoon. I think we're starting at 3 o'clock. All the information's on the website. I'll put it down below. But I am going to be teaching alongside Trisha Kopko, who is a sock crochet Tunisian socks designer. Tunisian crochet socks designer. Too many words. So we're splitting the time. I'm going to start with teaching some of the basics from my Perfect Fit sock class. So it's not going to include everything. Of course, I couldn't fit all of that into 45 minutes, but just some of the highlights to help assist you with sock fit for knitting. And then Trisha is going to teach the last 45 minutes, giving you tips for crochet socks as well as Tunisian crochet socks. So that will be a really helpful one. You'll be able to ask questions as well in that event. Then on Monday night, we are going to be interviewing, or I will be interviewing, but you will be able to ask questions as well. We're going to interview Virginia Catherall. I met Virginia in Salt Lake City when I went to the Salt Lake City Knitters Guild and found out what a fiber artist in residence is. This was something I had never heard of before. So a lot of the national parks have a program for artists, and they are able to spend, a set amount of time, a few weeks to a few months, living in the national park. They house them and give them a stipend, and they're able to live in the national park and create. And it's so cool. I actually like looked up like applying to the program and I'm like, oh wow, it is very competitive. So the fact that we're going to get to interview Virginia is very exciting because she has been the fiber artist in residence at several parks, including Glacier National Park. Oh, I have it on here. I can't remember, but several of the parks, like she's from Utah, but surrounding Utah as well. And then she creates knitted designs based on the national parks. So she has like a cowl that's like the night sky and like all these amazing things. She's going to share all of that with us. So I'm so excited for this interview. It's going to be so much fun. And this package is only $25 or $25 through today and then $30 starting tomorrow. So every event is essentially $5 and they're all recorded. So if you can't make each and every one of them live, you'll still have them to go to. The third event is going to be fourth event is going to be on, I think I have it on Friday. I believe that's right, on Friday. So we're going to kind of take off some time in the middle of sock week because middle of the week is crazy. So I think it's on Friday. We're going to do a game night. So this will be an opportunity to either just come and watch some entertainment or win some prizes. We're going to play some games hosted by Kent. He's the game master. We're going to play at least one game where everyone can play, probably bingo. And then we'll be calling for some volunteers. So if you're somebody who likes to step in and play some games and maybe win some yarn prizes, then that is a great opportunity for you. So you'll be able to come and do that. There'll be some national park themed and yarn themed games. We'll probably play Jeopardy and then maybe either Price is Right or we've done some other ones in the past. What's the other one called? Family Feud is always really fun. So we'll see. We're developing the games and everything, but it will be a fun game night. And then our last event is going to be on Saturday. So the second Saturday of Sock Week. And this is going to be an interview with designer Nancy Bates. So you may have seen all of the National Parks hats. She is a designer of the National Parks hats. She's developed 2 books, actually, the hats for all of the national parks, and then one called, I think, Knitting California, which has, California has incredible nature, so a lot of the different places in California. So we're going to get to interview her. This one is in the afternoon as well, because I wanted to make sure that there were a few events that our European friends could join us for that would be not in the middle of the night for you. So this one will be earlier in the day. But again, they're all recorded. So we'll be interviewing Nancy and getting to learn about how she developed all of these hats, her inspiration for design, and just more about her in general. So those are the 5 events that are included in the package. And then also you'll get access to Discord. And Discord it's a free app where you can communicate. I've created a private space for Sock Week for people who have the package. And so it's a place to share photos, get encouragement, ask questions about socks, and basically just a community space. And this one is not just open during Sock Week. You get access as soon as you sign up, and it will be open through the end of July. So a little bit past when Sock Week ends, and that way you'll have time to, get to communicate and share your finished socks with everybody. So that's the main event package. There is an option to do Discord only for just $5. So that's a great option if maybe, money is tighter or maybe the events are just not your thing. You can do that. You always can upgrade later on. And then if you have been thinking about purchasing one of my sock courses, I have, my Fish Lips Kiss Heel course and my Perfect Fit Sock course available. Both of them did not go up in price, but include Sock Week. So if you want to kind of get a discounted package, that's a perfect opportunity. I also lowered the price on my Perfect Fit Socks course for Sock Week only. So it's a great time to grab that one as well. But it is only available as the purchase in full version because I'm giving you access to the entire course at once and including the Sock Week package. Okay, all the details are down below. If you're interested, you can look for that. But you are able to sign up all the way through July 20th when we begin. Okay, one more Sock Week thing. The Sock Week patterns are now available. As of today, Shell Yeah by Leah Gibson is out. So you can go purchase that pattern. You can make your first one. I definitely encourage you to make your first one before sock week so that you're not feeling stressed during sock week by figuring out a new pattern. The Adventure Boot Socks by Maggie Fangman, as of today, are not out yet, but I think they will be out by Thursday. They are in testing and they're getting finished up, so I will make sure to share as soon as those are available, add them to the website, and if you're in the Discord, I'm adding the information to our info channel in Discord as well. Okay, I have one more yarn thing to share because this one is also coming to a close too, and I've already talked about it a little bit, so I won't talk your ear off about it, but the Ruby and Roses Flowers Gone Wild collection. I have a few more colorways to share. I don't know how many colors there are in total in the collection. So you saw Wisteria and the mini skein set. There's another mini skein set that is like really cool. I was actually very tempted to get it to make a blanket, but I restrained myself for now, but you shouldn't. Then there's also just a bunch of speckles and tonals. So these sock sets are great too. This one is in my Flower Era and Meadow Sweet. You can also get Meadow Sweet as a full skein. This one is Urban Garden and Periwinkle Lace. A gray base, super pretty. And then the last one that I got on the sparkle base, which is called Rose Gold. And this one is Succulent. And this one is really cool. Perfect to transition to summer and fall. All right, so again, my affiliate link is down below. If you're a new customer, you can save $5. If you're a returning customer, using an affiliate link is just a great way to support the podcast. But if you have multiple content creators you know that are using a Ruby and Roses affiliate link, share the love. Each time you purchase, find another person to work with. Okay, last thing here is events. And I have added 4 new events to share with you today. I have a ton of them. I've actually been thinking that I probably need a space. They're all linked down below in the description box, but I am planning to hopefully add a space on my website soon that's just a resource where I can keep events up all year long and just keep adding to them. So I need to think about the best way to do that, but I think that would be helpful. I know there's somewhere out there that already does this, but I figured I would just add my own. All right, in chronological order by start date, let's go through these. So there is the Slow Yarn Crawl P&W in Washington and Oregon. It started May 24th and it goes through Labor Day, September 2nd. The Cowboy Yarn Crawl also has started already, but goes through Labor Day. It's in Wyoming. And again, if you want to see all of those stores, we went to every single one during the crawl. And that video just came out today. So you can go and watch that and get a little preview. The Utah, oh, I need to pull this out of here. Hold on. Oh, I'm not online. Okay, that's fine. Anyway, the Utah Yarn Crawl is in Utah, July 13th through the 20th. The Arkansas Yarn Crawl is in Arkansas, July 19th through the 27th. Chicago Yarn Crawl, July 20th through the 28th. Sock Week is happening July 21st through the 28th. The Steel Valley Yarn Crawl is in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, July 26th through August. No, wait, I'm looking at something else. Nope, July 26th through August 4th. This is a new one. It's new because I've added it newly to the podcast. The Heartland Yarn Adventure is happening in Michigan, Kentucky, Indiana, and Ohio, July 26th through August 4th. There are 84 shops included. So this is not one where you go to all of them. Definitely not. But it's just a big conglomerate of all of these different stores. And I've included their website. They've got a great website. The Wild and Woolly Colorado Yarn Crawl is in Denver, August 3rd through the 11th. Here's another new one. The I-91 Shop Hop is in Connecticut, Massachusetts, and Vermont, August 6th through the 17th. Check that out. I think I didn't write down how many shops there are, but definitely enough where you could go to all of them. The Pearl, Indiana Yarn Crawl, also a new one to the list this week, is in Southern Indiana, August 9th through the 17th. We did go on this one last year, so if you look back through our channel or just search Knitty Natty Pearl, Indiana Yarn Crawl, you'll see last year's shops. I believe there are 5 stores again, but they have changed a little bit, and there is an exclusive colorway that you can get on the crawl. It is from Red Hill Fiber. We got to see their fiber mill last year, but now they have a storefront, which is really exciting. This yarn, it's a really pretty color. but the fiber is really unique. It's a 90% Targi and 10%, I can't see because, 10% nylon. My internet is being weird. So that's a great one if you're in Indiana, highly recommend. The Michigan Fiber Festival is in Allegan County, August 14th through the 18th. The Oklahoma Yarn Crawl is August 16th through the 17th. Pause. August 19th through the 24th. And it is brand new. There are 12 shops. I realize I forgot to include the correct link last time, so I've got it down below this time. Last new one for this episode, the Wisconsin Sheep and Wool Festival is in Jefferson, Wisconsin, September 6th through the 8th. The Boston Fiber Festival is at the SoWa Marketplace, September 8th. The Sierra Nevada Yarn Crawl is in California and Nevada, September 12th through the 15th. Lambtown is in Dixon, California, October 5th and 6th. And lastly, New York Sheep and Wool is in Rhinebeck, New York, October 19th and 20th. Whew, that's a lot of events. That's why I'm like, I need to put it somewhere where it's easier to look at. All right, everyone. Thank you for joining me for this extra long episode this week. We're back to our regular schedule, so I will be back with you next week sharing projects. Hopefully, I have a finished twisted t-shirt. We will be back on the road, I think. I guess it's possible that I will be here next week. I don't know yet. That's the life that we live. We just roll with it. Whatever happens, happens. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.